Welcome to Conversations with the Strange. Today we have the man, the myth, the Baphomet.
Hi, kids. Do you like violence? Want to stick 9-inch nails through your eyelids?
Yes, so thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
No problem. You're just going to owe me your soul for all of eternity for this now.
That sounds reasonable.
Fair enough.
I am a ginger, so they say that we're soulless.
Yeah, I beg to differ.
But if you're cool with it, I would like to start from the inside out.
Sure.
Basically, with your beginning, I had read in your Ask Me Anything on Instagram that there was a defection from Christianity at about age 8.
Yep.
What was that experience like? Was there something, a pivotal moment that made that happen, or a series of moments?
So, at about 7 or 8, I deconstructed from Christianity. My parents had me enrolled in Catholic school at that point, and listening to what was being taught and looking around at what was going on, it even at that young of an age, I kind of recognized you're saying one thing and you're doing another. So something isn't adding up and it's not scaling out the way it should. Uh, I began to question my own parents. I was like, hey, why are we going to church on Sundays? That's not exactly what this guy in this book is talking about. And of course, it led to, you're the devil. And, well, go figure. Here we are.
Stuck. But actually, moving in from there, so then there was another question, and you asked me anything. I'm not sure if it was maybe the same one, but the way you answered was that you had read the Satanic Bible at 14.
So, obviously,
Very formative years, you know what I mean?
yeah, I definitely strayed from Christianity at 7 to 8. And then probably 13, 14, I came across a copy of the Satanic Bible, and it resonated with me as I read it. And I was like, this is all the things I believe in, and I identify as this. And so off to the races we went. I always identified as a Satanist from 14 on, and I am a member of the Church of Satan officially for the last 2 years.
Nice, nice. And after reading that and identifying with the philosophies and I guess the sins and rules, I did a little bit of digging before having this conversation with you. Is there anything in particular that like shaped your early adulthood, like teenage years to into adulthood?
Um, I mean, obviously, the morality of that is pretty universal. It's not like, hey, you have to bow down to authority. Not, it's like question the things that need to be questioned. Um, Base your opinions of people around the merit of the things they do, and it's okay to not love everybody. You can't. It's impossible to love everybody. Whereas in Christianity, it's very much, oh, love everyone and turn the other cheek and this, that, and the other. That's not a realistic worldview. There are people that you hate just based on their opinions and how they act. Why would I waste my time to love them? That's a waste of my time and my energy. So a lot of all of that philosophy just resonated with me, and I was like, this is exactly how I felt about things for a long time.
Well, speaking of philosophies, I see that there tends to be a little bit of animosity towards your persona, especially online. We all love cowboy keyboard cowboys or whatever
Keyboard warriors.
words exactly.
Haven't encountered any of them ever.
uh, what do you feel like is the most common misconception about who you are and what you do?
So the first thing I encounter a lot of times is, the automatic turn to Jesus. Jesus is coming. That's great. I hope it's not on your face. But it's automatic assumption of things, and a lot of what their assumption is it's like, oh, hey, your indoctrination is showing. And when you challenge people to these thought processes, it's just like there was a gentleman earlier standing outside. We're currently in the basement of Catfight Coffee in their secret lair. Anyway, I was outside and a guy walked up to me and we were having a debate about Christianity and all of that. And I was like, can you prove to me that Zeus exists? And he was like, well, Zeus isn't real. Okay, so what's the difference between your God and Zeus? Well, my God's real. how do you know? It's faith-based. There's no evidence behind it. There's no anything to back it up. It's and he was like, "Oh, well, the Bible says." And I was like, "That's not a fair argument. That's like plugging a strip cord into itself and being like, this proves that electricity is real." No, it doesn't. It just proves you plugged a strip cord into a strip cord. So their logic is flawed a lot of the times, and they just argue out of what they've been taught and what they think they know as the perception of the truth. Whereas in Satanism, a lot of the philosophy is based around study over worship. Question everything. If you have more questions, which always happens when you find answers, it presents a whole new set of questions. Dig deeper, find something else. One thing leads to another rabbit hole. And it's just like when you're up late at night and you're going down to YouTube. I know what you do, kids. I may or may not do it too. Like, how did Arnold end up on different strokes? I mean, anyway, moving right along.
I mean, from just an outsider's point of view, it is very I don't know. I don't want to use the word sad, but it's, I guess, to the effect of like brainwashing
It
someone, you
is.
know what I mean? I'm
Hey,
not, like, I don't want to hate on anybody if, their personal faith, go for it. You know what I mean? That's the greatest thing about being yourself, is having the opportunity to do what you feel is right, what feels right for you,
100%.
But
And,
when you're like saying, well, you're wrong because of XYZ, and there's actually no factual or science behind it, it's frustrating.
absolutely. And they love to argue from a place of non science, of non evidence, of non explanation. And you challenge them with these things that don't make sense. And they're just like, oh, well, you don't understand that. No, I understand it. I'm taking it literally at face value. And you're searching context outside of the context that's given to make it make sense to you. And it kind of goes back to, if we are born in the Middle East, we'd probably be Muslim, right?
Right.
Regionally, you're born into the perfect religion,
Right.
right? And nobody digs out of that. Nobody questions anything. No, they just accept what they're fed. And like, that's where this dogmatic indoctrination begins, is because you're spoon fed it. Every kid is born an atheist, folks, whether you agree with me or not. It's the truth. You don't have these thoughts. They are fed to you. You consume them. You are a consumer of what you are being fed.
No, I agree. So as far as your journey in Satanism, what was your thought process, and why did you choose the Baphomet? Because symbolism wise, I think the Baphomet is very, very interesting. So what is your interpretation of why the Baphomet, or what the Baphomet and why the Baphomet?
So it's funny that, it all goes back to childhood. And I was always a theatrical kid. I always had a flair for being extra. Being extra. Um, but like, there was a situation where I was like, I think it's like somewhere between the ages of 5 and 7. My grandmother had made me the classic Red Devil costume as a Halloween outfit, and we had to go walk the dog. And I refused to go walk the dog unless I was dressed as the devil. So obviously, some things never change. And I realized in that dog walk at that age, by the way, I took the dog to the church and the dog took a dump on the steps, and I thought it was hysterical. And I realized that people freaked out about it. And I realized the power and fear that people have of what they don't understand. And they're, oh, you're the child of the devil and you like evil things. No, the dog took a dump on the steps and it was funny, and you thought it was fucking strange. And it's like, we all take dumps. But it's funny because you fear this building that has nothing in it, that is built in the visage and the image of things that you believe in, that were told to you directly in the book don't do. And yet you still fear them, whatever. And so at a very early age, I realized, number one, there is power through fear. And number two, there is power in counterculture. So that, in a series of things over my life, Daddy Baffy has always been a part of me. It just wasn't a thing that was named until after I got divorced, and this visage and version of Daddy Baffy began.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? About, well, I mean, not the hell that is divorce, but more so how the
That's a special kind of hell. If you haven't been through it, I highly recommend you don't. If you want the government involved in your love life, incorporate. Don't get married. There's really no benefit to it. They definitely don't fall for that. Oh, they give you a deal on your insurance. No, they don't. There's nothing. The insurance rates are terrible. Everything is terrible. And then the government is involved in your love life. Why? Why? Just incorporate. You get a better tax break.
business advice from the Baphomet people.
I use my head.
Take
Write it down, take notes. I'm here all week.
no, but in all sincerity, do you think that there was a like maybe I don't know, like a moment of epiphany, if I could say it that way, like after the divorce, maybe during the divorce, that you were like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go try and pursue this.
So, I had the original mask made. We had this conversation offline. Twin Temple, put out an album. The artist that made the mask is the same artist that made my mask. It was before they got really big. I had reached out to the band. This is still when they would respond to Instagram messages before they went on tour with Danzig and Ghost and all that stuff. They were a very small time. They would still answer messages. So they answered who the artist was. I got in touch with the artist. I had a mask made, and then I had another mask made, and then I had another mask. And here we are, like 5 masks later. But in all of that, I had the original mask made, and I was like, nobody's really doing this cosplay of Baphomet at events or conventions or just anything. And I was like, this is a cool avenue to go down. It's something I've obviously always done, and it's very representative of me. And I was in a very dark place in my head. I was in a very depressed place. And I was like, hey, if I can't get myself better, at least I can get the joy of making somebody else's day feel a little bit better. That in turn, seeing people light up, seeing kids interact with you, seeing people feel special and be seen and feel validated and heard. And, I would go around in the original iteration of it and I'd hand out apples and like little notes that, hey, you're doing your best, Satan loves you. And it ended up people, they would take these notes and they would take it to heart and they come back to you later on and they're like, thank you. That really made my day. It made me feel seen. It made me feel heard. And at the end of the day, that is the ultimate validation that any of us are seeking, just to be seen and heard and feel like we're appreciated because we're all struggling through some bullshit. So if you just, some random act of kindness to a stranger, if that makes you feel better, cool. And at the end of the day, it makes you feel like a better person. And I realized through that it kind of set me on a path of, hey, this is maybe something I should pursue.
That's really, really nice and really kind of you too.
Isn't Baphomet sweet? Anyway, if you want to sell me your soul, I'll take it.
No, that's great. I mean, for what it's worth, just from a social media standpoint, I'm gonna say it's really like first and foremost adorable to see all of these little kids run up to you just like arms wide open without a care, a fear, a
preconceived notions. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, check this out. And they're, you know what I mean? Like with full smiles on. How does that feel for you, especially with the children?
I'm not talking to them about Satanism. I'm not swaying their opinion one way or the other. To me, it's the ultimate act of standing on your own 2 feet. It's the ultimate act of bravery. It's the ultimate act of going against the grain and seeing these little kids. Because obviously, it's visually, it can be a little scary. It can be a little intimidating because I do stand at over 7 foot in the costume and with the horns and everything. And it's a lot to take in. Sometimes there's loud, obnoxious chanting playing. Sometimes I have a microphone on and I have a big booming voice going on. And it can be a lot, but for them to just suck it up and be like, hey, I'm going to go give that guy a hug. Like, you can't do anything but embrace that and be like, I appreciate you as a human that is looking through a human lens at somebody else and not being afraid because they look different. And you have to celebrate that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Huh?
Um, do you ever like feel like, I don't know, that there's certain like, okay, this is the best way I could say it. You chose Satanism. You could have very well have just been strictly atheist. Was there something that like drew you to other than reading and
I think it's the aesthetic flair. It's the this sometimes self-deprecating sense of humor. I say it all the time. I'm an atheist, but I'll be whatever devil you need me to be. If you think I'm coming over to your house to eat your kids, I'm definitely coming to your neighborhood specifically to eat your kids. But whatever it's again, it's the aesthetic of it. It's the shock value. It's kind of like shock rock. You know what I mean? I've always had a love for Halloween and all things dark and dressing up and haunted houses and been very involved in all of that throughout my life. So this is just a further extension of that, and it kind of is a culmination of all the things in one spot that I kind of believe in.
good? Very, very good. Now, has there been any like connection or maybe some sort of like you met someone that you wouldn't have ever met had it not been for being who you are as the Baphomet?
It's a strange and a weird question to answer because I've been into concert promotion for a good portion of my life. I kind of stepped away from that. So I have a lot of friends within the music community. I have a lot of friends in bands that are, you've met earlier on in their careers before they were somebody and then they joined some other band and whatever. And you maintain these friendships. So it's like I have a lot of friends in a lot of places that are odd, but I also, this persona has opened a lot of doors for me as well, so I don't deny that. There are members within the Church of Satan that are, pretty well known individuals. So it gives you direct access to them in a way where it's a very human and that's something that goes along with the philosophy is you just treat everybody the same. It doesn't matter your social stratification or any of that. Obviously, the philosophy does drive stratification of oneself, but when we're all together, it's just kind of an equal playing field, really. So, yeah, it's definitely opened doors for me for individuals I never thought I'd talk to.
Do you think that there's anything else that you would ever want to work on as the man and the Baphomet? Do you think that there's anything like future plans that you want to maybe expand into something different, or would you?
I mean, there's always evolution. To stay stagnant is life is like a river and it's constantly in motion. And so many times, we, we find this rock along the river and we stay put on it and we're like, this rock is awesome. And this is my station in life. And this is where I got to be. But what's going on that whole time when you're not paying attention is that water is moving around that rock and it starts eroding it. And eventually that rock collapses and you get stuck into the current again. And it changes what you were, what you expected, what your acceptance of reality is, and it throws it all into flux. And here you are swimming against the grain again, but you have to be prepared for that. So it's hard for me to answer what I want out of it. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have a solid answer. I just kind of accept whatever comes at me. It has opened a lot of doors, and I just hope that it continues to do that. And I hope it, everybody has a different interaction, a different experience with me. I try to keep it unique to every single person. Some of them positive, some of them negative. It is what it is. It's all dependent on you and what you want out of the experience.
To act accordingly.
Be nice. If you're not nice, I know where you live, and I'm going to shit down your chimney.
So if you would give advice to, say, for example, a 14-year-old that has a lot of questions and not very many answers and is looking for some direction, how would you go about giving advice? Is there anything particular you would say to them?
It's a weird dichotomy because it kind of it depends on the advice that they're looking for. You know what I mean? If you're looking, and I've had a lot of teenagers come to me and ask me about Satanism and all that kind of thing, and I try to be unanimously the same across the board with that. Hey, this is a very individualistic driven thing. You're not going to be accepted into Church of Satan as a member until you're 18 because they don't want kids in it. It's just an adults only thing. At that point, you can decide what's best for you. However, that doesn't mean that you can't go out and read the literature, educate yourself. But again, it depends on what the question is and what they're seeking. But I'll always give my honest, best answer to anybody that asks me anything.
That's, that's very good. I think that's very important, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you hear the connotation Satanism and you're like, whoa, what are you doing with that? Clearly, I'm eating babies. What do you think I'm doing? Where there's the people that genuinely want to know things and they dig for deeper truths.
The truth is out there. So I think a good anchor question would be, I know you've been doing a lot these past couple years with appearances and, just being your awesome self and showing up for small businesses, small creators. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, follow Glue House Obscure, and if you don't, I'm going to come to your house and shit down your chimney, too. That's a lot of shit, so I'm going to eat a lot of vegan food because it makes you shit.
Has there been like a specific appearance that had like a lasting impression on you? Like something that maybe somebody that approached you or just the whole situation as a whole? Has there been something that you think back and you're like, fuck yeah, or that was really horrible?
I mean, there's always really horrible experiences, but the fact is that even when it's horrible, you can take something away from because the shit inherently always goes wrong. That's show business. I learned that a long time ago. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. You just have to learn how to roll with the punches and not let it control the rest of the setting. The only person who's really going wrong, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, there's things that go wrong and that affects you and the show and the output of what you're trying to do. However, it's how you adapt to those situations and what you can do. Control the factors that you can control and try to make it the best situation that you can. This is no different than any of that. There are situations where things go wrong. There are parts on the costume that broke. This version of the costume, the second week I had the mask, TSA broke the horns on me while I was going to do an appearance. And it was just like, wow, that really fucking blows. But what do? Are you just not going to show up because TSA broke the horns? Or are you going to be proactive and try to figure it out? So you just try to figure things out. There's a lot of appearances that have shaped my outlook on things. AC here at Catfight has always been very supportive, very cool. Love coming out here and supporting those guys. There was Salem in October is always an interesting beast because you get a wide variety of people and it gives you a different outlook on how to interact with individuals. Now, I try to keep it even keel across the board. However, there are those antagonists that come and they want to needle you and they want to poke you. And once again, all depending on how you treat me depends on how you're going to get treated. So if you come over and try to act like an asshole, you're going to get an asshole back. You want to come over, be cool, you're going to get somebody cool back. It is what it is. It's all what you bring to the table, how you're going to get treated. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in doing all of this.
Hell yeah. It's a very good lesson learned.
Yeah. It's a lot. And it's pretty funny, too. Because when you are being a miserable prick, you're dealing with somebody who is sweating their balls off inside of a latex and fur costume, sweating for your entertainment, and you want to come treat me like shit. I'm already moody and temperamental inside, even though I may not come off as such. But if you're going to come be a cocksmith, I'll be a bigger cocksmith right back. Because I need somebody to pick on. Do you know what it's like to be in this moist goat suit?
Well, is there any well, I know I said anchor question, but this is just out of curiosity. Is there anything like any place or any event that you really want to be at in the moist goat suit?
Any of them really? I love doing this. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. It doesn't matter the size of the crowd. It doesn't matter if it's 15 people or 1,500 people. You're always going to get the same consistent Daddy Baffy that I bring out there. Because that interaction with the group of 15, you never know who's going to walk away and be like, hey man, that really made my day and you made me really feel really special. You can get that out of the 15,000, 1,500 people, or you can get that out of 15 people. So I try to stay consistent in all of that.
Awesome. Well, if anybody is interested in having this lovely Baphomet appear, there is a booking opportunity on his website, dannybaffy.com. You could also find him on Instagram, Danny
At Daddy Baffy 666, on TikTok at Daddy Baffy 666, at your mom's house at Daddy Baffy 666, in your trash can at Daddy Baffy 666, and probably in your toilet, in the tank, not in the toilet, because I don't want to get poop on my head. But I may pop up through the tank on the toilet if you're careful.
Baffy. But thank you guys, and thank you very, very
Hi, guys! Raise hell! Love you!